we identify as Americans. Even though we call ourselves Black Americans, we do not identify as immigrants. And for the most part, and I'm not speaking across the board, but there are those of us who identify as American. And the reason we identify as American is basically by default. Africans don't accept us as African. Caribbean people don't accept us as Caribbean. You could be of Caribbean descent, but if you're born in America, they're going to see you as an American. So for the most part, this is all we have. And that is especially true for Black Americans or foundational Black Americans who have no idea who their ancestral family members are specifically. Joy Reid can point to her family. She can point to her mother and her father. She could probably trace her heritage back to a certain tribe or location. I'm not talking about when you take those DNA tests and they said, oh, your family is from Nigeria, your family is from Senegal, your family is from Ghana or wherever, or the Congo. I'm talking about you can trace it straight back to your tribe, to the location of your tribe, et cetera, et cetera. So we're different in that regard. We realize we don't have anywhere else to go. Now, what is the attraction that we have to Trump? The first thing you have to understand is, again, most Black Americans see themselves as American. We realize, and that's by default, as I explained before. The other thing you have to understand is that most Black Americans don't want to go anywhere permanently. We don't want to overturn the United States. And of course, you got some yahoos and some crazies out there who talk that blackety black talk. But for the most part, as far as the Black community is concerned, those people are on the fringes. Those people are way out there in left field, and nobody is going to give up their iPhones and their custom tailored suits and their townhouses to go back to Africa. That's just not something that Black Americans want to do. We definitely don't want to live in the Caribbean. We see how they're living. Much respect to the brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, but for the most part, that's not something we want to do. We like to visit, we engage our brothers and sisters, we like the food, we like the culture, but for the most part, we want to remain here in the United States. And in doing so, you have to understand, we don't necessarily like the way things are, but we don't want to change it per se. What we want to do and what we want is a better seat at the table. We want a better position under the umbrella of the power and the prestige and the money associated with being in the United States. We